If you guys need any cards, packs, sleeves, anything of that nature, shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link in the description. What's good, YouTube? Today we're going to be revisiting an idea I had like 6 months back for Fairy Monster Mash, which I think is an idea that has a lot more validity than you might originally think. The version I played back then maybe wasn't as polished and clean as this one. I think I really tried to make it optimal here. I think the idea has merit simply because like Chaos Fairy, if you think about it, is already like a pseudo Monster Mash deck where it's like you just play a super high monster count because you have all these hand traps in the form of Battle Fader and Herald of Orange Light and stuff. So this is basically just like extending that even further. And Chaos Fairy, obviously you benefit from playing the Decrees and the other utility cards, but you just like slim down the last few bits of those and put in Gallus and Witch, and you've got a Monster Mash deck. So I figure it's an idea at least worth investigating. Plus, you have even more darks for Sork with Witch of the Black Rose, although it doesn't work for Enrise because it is a spellcaster monster. But it makes Sork live a little more often, which is, it's nice. And Witch and Gallus are obviously just good cards that are the payoff to playing Monster Mash. So I think it's like at least worth investigation. I think the major drawback obviously is you can't play Decree, and you maybe just gonna get owned by DDV like even harder than you already probably would. So that could be an issue. In this version, because we don't have Minecon either, I decided to go with just triple Warrior Lady. And then we're also playing this Grand Mole. I figure Grand Mole's an interesting card that people have been trying out in Fairies. And there's definitely some merit to it. It deals well with set monsters, and then in a deck like this, it's going to deal well with annoying Floodgate monsters as well. DD Warrior Lady, same deal, and you don't really want to play Cyber Valley without Minecon, as I said. So rather than having the other option, just like max out on DD Warrior Lady, I think is a bit more appropriate. And then the ratios are basically the same as Chaos Fairy, except we went up to a second Cyber Dragon and a third Battle Fader, because again, we're taking out those utility spell traps, so we need more guys that we can just drop and try to accomplish like sort of the same thing. So that's the logic behind that. Anyway, that's the build that we came up with, and let's get into the games. First replay is, I think this one's up against Frogs. I played against Frogs. Yeah, this is the Frog one. It was like 45 card Frogs. This one was weird. I kept drawing Heavy Storm in all these games, by the way. I guess spoiler alert, but we had a lot of hands with Heavy Storm, I noticed. Anyway, we go for Dim Alk here. The great thing is you by playing this build, we go from a build that has like a 75% Dim Alk hit rate, and then we turn it up to like I don't know, a 90%. What's 38 out of 40? That's like a 95% chance to hit off Dim Alk, so very nice. We go summon the Grand Mole here. They drop Fader, at which point I'm like, all right, it's probably Frogs. They just opened like a bad hand. I don't know why they don't just go for the Solex Ryza here. I think they just wait and end up doing it later. So here we go, get rid of the Battle Fader, and then I make a little bit of a suspect play, and then I set the Brain Control. Now, I know I'm up against Frogs, so I feel like doing the pseudo pro set heavy that risks the Brain Control is actually probably worse than just setting the heavy and putting it into play and getting that like picked off by a Monarch or a back row or whatever. So I think we made a little bit of a screw up. I mean, having the heavy is still valuable because he's still on back row. He sets a Phoenix Wing and stuff, but I think having the Brain Control debatably is probably better. So I think that was a little bit of a misplay. I resummoned the Mole because a lot of times in this Frog matchup with Monster Mash, you're in these situations where it's just like, yeah, I don't want to play into like Solex Monarch or whatever, but it's like use it or lose it on these cards because I'm going to have just my hand fill up. So here they chain Econ, and I'm like, why the hell did they do that? But then they had the 1-for-1. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So they can go get Substitute anyway, even though I had the disruption and everything for that play. So definitely a bit of a feels bad. We now have to out the dupe lock. So I just go set Dim Alk. Hopefully he has a set Regeki Break and just decides to use it. But he just like doesn't do anything. So I'm like, all right, we're not going to do anything then. And if he doesn't attack at any point, even when we start like setting monsters, here he just like Thestalos rips. He does take the Sork, which sucks because this was a potential way to fix our graveyard if we go up to 5 fairies for Christia. But then he just keeps not attacking, at which point it's like, all right, I have the deck advantage. Literally, I have 1 card up in deck. So if you just never attack, I mean, I don't have to do anything. You're going to deck out first. So, and it goes on like this for a while. We just set pass. And now I decide, okay, we can try and out this dupe lock. We force out the Regeki break, and then we just have another one, and then he doesn't have a stop for it. So we go Black Rose Dragon. That doesn't make the dupes miss timing here, but conversely, it also doesn't make the Dim Alchemist timing. So we get to add the Gallus, and then I end phase pitch Battle Fader because Sky Scourge Endrise is the only way at this point that we are fixing our graveyard for Christia, and we need a Dark Fiend. We have 2 Darks engraved, but it is Sork and Witch. It's both of our Spellcaster Darks instead of a Dark Fiend, so I just pitched the redundant Battle Fader here. Opponent decides to go for Android, and then they don't attack, fearing, I guess, Gore's Trag. Yeah, fearing Gore's Trag. I'm not sure why they went for Android. They could have just brought back like a swap and then poked for 13, then bounced back the junk. I think that would have been a better play. Or even making Catastor probably a better play to deal with fairy monsters maybe, although it's not too good there either. Maybe they just wanted to gain the life since they don't have defense, but if they were worried about dying, they probably should have set an Econ, because now we go Sidra, Gallus. Gallus hits a Gores, nice burn damage in there. That means even if they have Battle Fader, I don't even have to Orange Light it. I can just Caius in main 2, and yeah, they're just dead to the Honest and to the Poke directly with the Gallus of the Star Beast. So on to game number 2. We have a decent hand. Definitely the Gores is hopefully going to do a lot of work here. Hopefully going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. We draw into Orange Light, which is nice. I hit in, and they drop Trag, so that's like a big Tragodia. They draw Thestalos, and then I decide not to negate the Thestalos because I'm like, we're fine as long as they don't hit Gores. And, yeah, what are the chances they really get the 1 out of 5? But then they get the 1 out of 5 and hit the Gores. I'm like, all right, guess I should have Orange Lighted that then, because now we're going to actually lose the duel. We add back the Caius, but obviously we're not getting value out of this Caius because we don't have the Gores in our hand anymore. If we'd gotten to resolve this Gores, I think we would have been absolutely, like, Bing chilling here. I mean, what can they... They can, like, 1-for-1 Toad, maybe, and then I would have to Orange Light that, but still. And then we just randomly die because they have Mind Control. I'm like, what the hell? They're playing Mind Control and Frogs? All right. It seems like not too useful except specifically to go for game in a situation like that, but... Hey, they're on 45 cards. I guess they got to fill up those 45 cards somehow. So here we go Witch, and we hit another Witch, and I'm actually pretty much cool with that because that way we have the Witch Gallus combo still preserved in our hand. I kind of just wanted to get drawing because as you can see from this hand, we don't have a lot of win cons. I think we did side into the 3rd Christia, and we just want to dig and find that Christia, right? Because that's how we're winning this game against Frogs probably. Opponent's going to go for sub into swap, and then at this point I'm kind of thinking... we brought in these DD Crows because, like, we have triple Warrior Lady, and we have triple Kai's, and we have triple Crow, so we should be able to banish all their Treeborns, right? And then we just draw the second one, and I'm like, all right, so no more Treeborn for you ever this game. That should be fun. I decide, again, in this use it or lose it kind of situation, that I guess we should just play into Solex, Caius, or whatever, because there's no reason to be, well, we could have just, like, crowed in our end phase, I guess. But I think... I was thinking that they just didn't have Soul X for some reason. I'm not sure. I guess it's because they're on these multiple Thestaloses. So maybe I've just decided it doesn't matter because, like... And then also Vanity's Fiend post-board could be a thing. So if they have Soul X, like, it doesn't really matter if we put 1 monster or 2 on the field. I think we could get punished either way. So they make a weird play where they junk into Android again, and then they hit over our Trooper. I'm not really sure why they did it this way. I guess the fear is that if they leave Trooper there, I could mill more fairies, and then Christia could be live, and then they just lose. But also this just gives me 1 extra card, and also they could have just made Catastor, and then I wouldn't have been able to crash anything. They could have made Goyo and, like, stolen the Witch. So I'm not really sure why they opted for this route. I think for a while here about what I can do, and I ultimately decide to Black Rose the field. I don't think this was the best play. I couldn't really figure out a way to get Christie alive in main 1 here. So I just decided to do it this way. I guess we could have... No, I don't know. We could have summoned Angel, but then that's only 2 fairies. But then if we proc Orange Light, we're on 4 fairies. Anyway, we hit into Gores, and obviously that's really not good for us. I decide we actually do need to Orange Light that because I have a read at this point that there's no Soul X, right? It would have been used. There's no Brain Con Soul X. That would have happened already. So if we just get rid of this second Crow, then they probably just can't do... Or if we get rid of the second Treeborn with the Crow, they probably just can't do anything. So now, on this turn, all we have to do is summon a dude, make a level 8 Synchro, drop Christia, and we have lethal damage at that point. And yeah, the opponent just reveals that their set was a Heavy Storm, and they had like 3 guys in their hand that they were bricked on that they couldn't summon because we got rid of all their Treeborns. And apparently the next card was Brain Control. So good thing they didn't draw that earlier because we might have gotten owned by that. Next match, this one's up against Lightsworn. I remember this one being being super quick. So let's see what happened here. As I mentioned, I kept drawing Heavy Storm, which not even good. I played against Frogs and Lightsworn, and I couldn't stop drawing Heavy Storm in these matches. But yeah, we go Summon the Witch, and then we hit a Cyber Dragon. Very nice. Very nice. I think getting to play double Sidra honestly feels decent. I think the main Chaos Fairy build, a second one wouldn't even be that bad in there. Like a second Sidra and a third Fader would honestly be decent. We just don't have room, you know? So they go Charge, and I think Jane's the only thing they can really get to hit over here. They have a handful of Lightsworns. They did one of these plays where their hand outside of the Charge is pretty slow, and then they just like Sark for JD anyway. And it's not clear to me how they're getting JD live in time to not die here. So at this point, I think we decided Tragodia pitch to steal. I actually get rid of the Nova because I want to keep the Warrior Lady. Just because I want to like start beating in there, I guess. And I want to have a card that like outs things. Whereas like Nova doesn't directly out anything. We have to ram it multiple times. Plus it gets fairies in the grave faster. So if I draw another one, then we could potentially just Brio Christie on this turn. And yeah, they have a slow hand. They just set pass. I summon Caius. Game over, right? Yeah. On to the next one. So pretty easy game number one there. Wow, they're also on 42. Everyone I played is just over 40 here. Here we have another very solid going second hand. Tragodia, once again, this card is just broken. This card just like soloed the entire last game, and you're about to watch it solo this entire game as well. So we hit into the Raikou. That's fine. We were okay with that being Hamster or Raikou, but now they're going to go off with Charge Recharge at this point. So Charge, get Lumina, Recharge, pitch Wolf, Mill Wolf, of course. You know, that's the experience. So at this point, I'm thinking like the absolute worst thing that could happen is they could have JD and Honest or something. And I decided to make a greedy play and just say like, they probably don't have both. So I'll just make them Honest over this Trag right now if they have it. I could have played greedier with this Trag if I wanted. Or less greedy with this Trag. I could have just dropped it later, but I'm just like, let's just Honest check them. Let's just make them use it now if they have it, and then we can go like Ram Sangan, search a Battle Fader, try to make like some stall play happen. I'm not exactly sure, but they don't have the Honest, so I'm like, all right, well maybe they have the JD, but no Honest. We just know they don't have Honest, right? There's absolutely no way they wouldn't have just hit over this. Now, the Trag, once again, we're just going to Snatch Steal a dude because that's a thing that Tragodia does. And then I think I just... Oh, yeah, they forgot to mill. I decide to summon the Warrior Lady because this way we can just absolutely play around Honest. I'm like 90% sure they don't have it, but, you know, better to play around it than to not play around it. So we get over the Lumina. Here we Honest over because if we Pry on Calc, ditch the Honest, that goes to 4 fairies. And then in main phase 2, we just drop Christia, and from there it should basically be my game. So, yeah, those are the matches we played. I think the deck is solid as Monster Mash decks go. I think it's definitely one of the better ones I've played here on the channel. The fairy card's just so good, and they have like the in-engine hand traps that are so good, and it definitely complements the Monster Mash strategy. Like I said, Chaos Fairy is already like a pseudo, a Monster Mash adjacent kind of deck, so it's definitely super easy to translate into this sort of build. There are definitely downsides, as I mentioned, but like I said, as Monster Mash goes by Monster Mash standards, a decent build. So yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments section. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.